Ethan Hayes had never imagined life would come to this, standing in the tiny kitchenette of a rundown, one-bedroom apartment, staring at a stack of overdue bills while the sound of his 8-year-old daughter Lily's soft humming drifted from the living room. The tune was cheerful, innocent, and heartbreakingly pure, yet completely unaware of the weight sitting on her father's shoulders like a mountain. Ethan was 32, a single father, and a man who had learned to live with quiet struggle. His wife, Emily, had passed away 3 years earlier after a sudden illness, leaving him with a little girl who had inherited her mother's warm smile, gentle eyes, and the ability to make everything around her feel brighter. Raising her was both the hardest and most precious part of his life. Every day began before dawn. He would pack Lily's lunch, usually something simple, like a peanut butter sandwich and an apple, before heading to his job as a mechanic. The pay wasn't great, but it kept them afloat, a broken bar most months. This month, however, everything seemed to crash at once. Rent increase, Lily needing new school supplies, his work hours getting cut unexpectedly. He didn't tell Lily any of this. She didn't need to know that they were one emergency away from being homeless. That night, rain hammered violently against the windows. Thunder rumbled in the distance, shaking the fragile walls of the apartment. Lily had fallen asleep on the couch, hugging her worn-out teddy bear, while Ethan tried to fix the flickering lamp on the side table. Money was tight, so everything needed to last as long as possible. He was twisting the metal socket when a sudden knock jolted him. Sharp, urgent. Who could possibly be visiting at this hour, especially in such a storm? He hesitated. Then the knock came again, this time weaker, almost desperate. Ethan walked to the door, checked the peephole, and felt his entire body stiffen. Standing outside, drenched from head to toe, was a girl who looked no older than 17. Her clothes were soaked, her hair plastered to her face, and she hugged her arms around herself as if trying to hold her body together. He opened the door cautiously. "Hey, a broken bar, are you okay?" he asked. Her lips trembled. "Yeah, I'm sorry, just a broken bar, I don't know where else to go." Rain drenched her eyelashes as she blinked at him. Ethan noticed she wasn't wearing a jacket. Her shoes were muddy, her jeans torn at the knee, and her backpack a broken bar. It looked brand new, expensive even, but the rest of her appearance didn't match it. "You're freezing," he said, instinctively stepping aside. "Come in before you get sick." She hesitated, glancing toward the street, then back at him. "Are you sure?" "Of course." The girl stepped in. Water dripped onto the floor, forming a small puddle. "I'm Ethan," he said, grabbing a towel. "You can dry off with this." She accepted it with shaky hands. "Thank you. My name's Ava." Her voice was soft, horsey, like she had been crying not long ago. "Are you hurt?" Ethan asked gently. "Do you need help? Should I call someone?" Her eyes widened with fear. "No, please don't call anyone." He raised his hands reassuringly. Okay, no calls." Something about her reaction was strange. A broken bar, but he wasn't the kind of person who would push a scared kid for answers. Lily stirred on the couch and slowly sat up, rubbing her eyes. "Daddy, a broken bar, who's that?" Ava looked at the little girl and smiled faintly. "Hi, this is Ava," Ethan explained. "Shay broken bar needed a place to stay out of the rain." Lily nodded sleepily. "You can sit with me, I have a blanket." Ethan's heart softened. Lily had always been open-hearted, just like her mom. Ava's smile warmed slightly. "Thank you, that's very kind." As she sat down on the couch, Ethan noticed something as she carried herself with a kind of grace, like someone raised with manners, confidence, and maybe broken bar privilege. But her eyes told a different story tonight. They were full of panic, exhaustion, and something that looked very much like heartbreak. He went to heat some soup on the stove. "You hungry?" he asked over his shoulder. Ava hesitated again, then whispered, "Yes, a broken bar actually." When he handed her the bowl, she held it tightly, like it was something precious. She took slow, careful sips. Ethan's chest tightened seeing her eat like she hadn't had a warm meal in days. "How long have you been out there?" he asked quietly. "Since afternoon," she answered. "I walked a long way, a broken bar, I needed to get far." "Far from what?" Ava stared at the steam rising from the bowl. "Home." "Did something happen?" he asked gently. Her hand tightened around the spoon. "It's complicated." "It usually is," he said. There was silence for a moment. Only the rain filled the room. "I didn't mean to bother you," Ava said softly. "I'll leave after the rain stops, I promise." "No," Ethan said firmly. "Absolutely not. You're staying here tonight. It's dangerous out there, and you're clearly not okay." Ava looked stunned, like she wasn't used to kindness from strangers. "Why are you helping me?" she whispered. Ethan shrugged. "Because someone helped me once when I needed it the most. And because you look like you could be my daughter's friend, I'd hope someone would help her if she was in trouble too." Ava's eyes glistened. Lily climbed next to her, placing a small hand on her shoulder. "You can stay with us. Daddy makes the best pancakes in the morning." A helpless laugh escaped Ava's lips. "Pancake has a broken bar that sounds nice." Ethan watched her. There was something hidden behind her words, something heavy. But tonight was not the night to dig. Tonight was just about giving a scared girl a safe place to breathe. He set up blankets on the couch and handed Ava a dry sweatshirt Lily had outgrown. "Thank you," she said again, "for everything." Ethan smiled tiredly. "Rest. We'll figure things out tomorrow." Ava lay down slowly, pulling the blanket to her chin. Lily curled up beside her, already chatting about her school art project. For the first time since arriving, Ava's face softened. She even laughed quietly at one of Lily's silly jokes. Ethan stood at the doorway watching the scene, his small daughter comforting a stranger, a girl who seemed lost in ways he didn't yet understand. He didn't know who she really was. He didn't know where she had come from. He didn't know that letting her in would change his life forever. All he knew was that she needed shelter and he had offered it. He turned off the lights and whispered, "Good night." Ava whispered back, "Good night, a broken bar, and thank you, Ethan." But as she closed her eyes, a single tear slid down her cheek because she knew tomorrow a broken bar, her secrets would follow her. Morning arrived softly, slipping through the thin curtains and filling the apartment with pale gold light. Ethan stirred first. Years of being a single dad had trained him to wake early, even before the alarm clock. He stretched quietly, careful not to make noise that would wake the girls in the living room. For a moment, he simply stood there, listening. The soft, rhythmic breathing of two sleeping children filled the space. Lily's gentle puffs, and Ava's slightly uneven breaths, as if she were still battling the remnants of whatever storm she had run from the night before. Ethan walked into the kitchen and began preparing breakfast. He cracked eggs, whisked batter, and let the comforting scent of pancakes fill the apartment. It was a routine he never skipped. If he couldn't give Lily the world, he could at least give her mornings that felt safe. When he finished, he peeked into the living room. Lily had wrapped one of her tiny arms around Ava's waist while sleeping, as if she had known her for years. The sight made Ethan smile. Ava, in the oversized sweatshirt, looked younger, fragile, even, not the composed girl from last night, but she still had shadows under her eyes. Before Ethan could turn away, Lily opened her eyes and grinned. "Daddy, you made pancakes." Ava blinked, awake at the sound of Lily's voice. She sat up abruptly, looking around in confusion before reality settled in. "Oh, a broken bar, I'm still here," she whispered, almost embarrassed. "Yes," Ethan said gently. "And you're safe. Breakfast is ready." Ava nodded slowly. "Thank you." Again, Lily tugged her hand. "Come on, you can sit next to me. Daddy makes smiley face pancakes." Ethan chuckled. "Only on special days." "Today is special," Lily declared. Ava followed them to the table, but she moved cautiously, as if afraid she might break something simply by touching it. Ethan noticed how she flinched slightly when Lily laughed loudly, how she seemed hyper-aware of every sound, every movement. This wasn't just a runaway girl. This was someone who had been under pressure, a broken bar, maybe even fear. As they ate, Lily chattered about her school, her art projects, her friend Mia's cat who had just had kittens. Ava listened intently, so intently it almost hurt to watch. She looked like a person starved for normalcy. When Lily stepped away to get her school backpack, Ethan gently cleared his throat. "Ava," he said softly, "you don't have to tell me everything, but I need to know enough to make sure you're okay." She froze, her fork hovering in the air. He continued, "I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but you showed up last night soaked, scared, and alone. That tells me something is really wrong." Ava set the fork down, her hands trembling slightly. "It's a broken bar, complicated," she murmured, "and you might not believe me." "I'll listen," Ethan said calmly. No judgment. Ava took a shaky breath. Okay, boot to broken bar, not with Lily here. He nodded. After dropping Lily at school, Ethan and Ava returned to the apartment. Ava stood near the window, staring at the street below like she expected someone to appear at any moment. You can sit, Ethan said. Ava shook her head. It's easier to say it standing up. Ethan waited patiently. Finally, she whispered, my dad is a broken bar, a millionaire. Ethan didn't react, didn't even blink, but Ava noticed. You're not surprised? She asked. I figured you might come from money, he said honestly. Your backpack alone costs more than my month's rent. But that's not why you're here. So tell me the rest. Ava swallowed hard. My dad is successful, but strict, controlling. Actually, I've never been allowed to make decisions for myself. What I wear, what I study, who I talk to, a broken bar, everything is monitored. Everything. Ethan's expression softened. He knew controlling types. He had seen enough parents at Lily's school to know what that looked like. But yesterday a broken bar, Ava continued, her voice cracking. I finally snapped. What happened? My dad decided which college I would attend, which major I would study, even though I told him I didn't want it. He didn't care. He said my dreams were nonsense, and when I said no, a broken bar, he locked me in my room. Ethan's eyes widened. He locked you in? Ava nodded, like a prisoner. A muscle in Ethan's jaw tightened. So I waited until the housekeeper opened the door to bring food. I grabbed my backpack and ran. How far did you run? All the way across town, she whispered. I didn't take money. I didn't plan. I just needed to get away. Ethan slowly breathed out. Of a broken bar, that's a lot. You must have been terrified. I still am, she admitted, voice trembling. He must be going crazy looking for me, and when he finds me broken bar, I don't know what he'll do. Ethan stepped closer but kept a respectful distance. You're not going back to him until we figure this out safely. I won't let anyone force you into anything. Ava's lips parted slightly. Why are you being so kind? You don't even know me. Kindness doesn't need a reason, Ethan said. And you're just a kid who needed help. I'm not going to turn my back on that. Ava looked down at her shoes. You're the first adult to ever say something like that to me. That hit Ethan harder than he expected. Hours passed as they talked. Ava opened up about her childhood, private tutors, strict schedules, carefully curated friendships, luxurious vacations where she had no freedom to explore. She had grown up wealthy, but suffocated. Money doesn't mean happiness, she said quietly. Sometimes it just hides misery. Ethan understood more than she realized. After losing his wife, he learned that loss didn't care how much money you had. Later, while Ethan did dishes, Ava stood beside him drying plates. She worked slowly, awkwardly, like someone who had never been asked to do simple chores. You don't have to help, he said. I want to, she replied. It feels a broken bar nice, normal, like I'm part of something. You are, he said without thinking. Ava's cheeks flushed slightly, but she didn't respond. Instead, she continued drying dishes with more care than necessary. When school ended, Lily burst through the door full of energy. Daddy, guess what? I got a star sticker today. That's my girl, Ethan said proudly. Ava smiled, genuinely this time. Lily turned to her. Ava, can you stay another night? Please, we can draw together. Ava looked uncertain, but Ethan spoke before she could refuse. She can stay as long as she needs. Ava stared at him, overwhelmed. On a broken bar, I don't want to be a burden. You're not, he said firmly. That night, they sat together watching a movie on the couch. Lily leaned against Ava, and Ava rested her head lightly on Lily's. Ethan watched quietly. For the first time, Ava didn't look scared. She looked like a girl who had finally found a moment of peace. But the peace wouldn't last long, because far across town, in a mansion with marble floors and security guards at every entrance, a broken bar, Ava's father was tearing through the house in rage, and he had just hired private investigators to track her down. The next morning, Daniel was fixing the fence outside when 4 black SUVs roared into his driveway, tires crunching gravel like thunder. His heart dropped instantly. Liam peeked from the window, eyes wide. Arya froze on the porch, her face turning white. Men in suits stepped out, followed by a tall, distinguished man with silver hair and commanding presence. His eyes scanned the house, sharp, desperate, furious. Relieve it all at once, Arya," he shouted, his voice cracking. She stepped back, trembling. Daniel instinctively moved in front of her. The man softened instantly. "Sweetheart, a broken bar please. Come home." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Is this your father?" She nodded slowly, tears spilling. "Yes, but he doesn't understand a broken bar." Her father stepped closer, pain written across his face. "I've been searching for you for 2 days. Arya, you can't just disappear. Not in your world. Not with who you are." Daniel looked between them, stunned. "Who she is?" he repeated. Marcus Wellington, billionaire, stepped forward and extended a hand. "I'm Marcus. My daughter broken bar. She's not used to being told number. She left home after we argued. She wanted to experience a normal life instead of being guarded every second." He exhaled deeply. "It terrified me." Arya's voice cracked. "You never let me make decisions. You never let me breathe, and you think disappearing is the answer?" Her father snapped, but his anger melted into fear. "I thought I lost you." Silence hung heavy. Then Marcus added, softer, to Daniel, "Thank you for protecting her. Thank you for giving her a place to sleep. You don't know how many sleepless hours you've saved me." Daniel shook his head. "Just did what any decent person would." "Number." Marcus looked him straight in the eyes. "Most wouldn't." Arya stepped closer to Daniel. "Thank you, a broken bar, for everything. You treated me like a persona, not a last name." Daniel smiled faintly. "Take care of yourself, kid." But before she left, she knelt to Liam's height and whispered, "You're a superhero. Never forget that." Then she stood, wiped her eyes, and walked toward her father. But Marcus wasn't finished. He turned back to Daniel. "If you ever need anything, a broken bar, anything at all, a broken bar, my door is open. You helped my daughter. That means you're not just a stranger to me anymore." Daniel nodded, unsure what to say. The SUVs drove off, disappearing down the road, leaving the small house quiet once again. Liam tugged on Daniel's sleeve. Broken bar, do you think she'll come back someday?" Daniel looked at the empty driveway, then at his son. "Yeah, buddy," he said softly. "People like here a broken bar, they don't forget where they found home."